A cold wind sweeps across the English Channel in the early hours of June 6, 1944. The sky is a deep blue just before dawn, and the air smells of salt and oil. On the deck of a U.S. Navy landing ship, gunners grip their .50 caliber machine guns, eyes fixed on the horizon. Their fingers are tense, waiting for the signal. Suddenly, the darkness erupts with streaks of red and green, tracer rounds slicing through the night like glowing arrows. Each shot leaves a trail, painting the air with lines of light. The roar of engines and the crackle of gunfire fill the air, echoing off the steel hulls. Can you imagine the fear and focus in that moment when every second counts and every bullet could mean survival or disaster? The tracers are more than just ammunition. They are guides, warnings, and signals, turning the sky into a living map. Why did these gunners rely so heavily on tracers, and how did they use them to shape the battlefield above? Like a lighthouse guiding ships through fog, these glowing rounds helped crews see the invisible and create the first aerial kill zone. The story of these men and their weapons is about to unfold, revealing how technology and courage changed the course of history. In the spring of 1944, Europe was a continent on edge. The Allies were preparing for Operation Overlord, the largest amphibious invasion in history. Over 156,000 troops, 5,000 ships, and 11,000 aircraft were set to cross the English Channel and storm the beaches of Normandy. The stakes could not have been higher. Every hour, commanders weighed the risks, weather, enemy strength, and the element of surprise. How could they protect their landing forces from the deadly threat of German aircraft? Would the Luftwaffe strike at dawn, or would the Allies' air cover hold? The U.S. Navy and Army Air Forces faced a unique challenge. Their ships and landing craft would be exposed, vulnerable to strafing runs and bombing attacks. The answer lay in a new kind of defense, the aerial kill zone. But what did that mean in practical terms? It was not just a line on a map. It was a living barrier created by the firepower of hundreds of gunners working in concert. Tracer ammunition became the key. Unlike regular bullets, tracers burned brightly as they flew, showing gunners exactly where their shots were going. It was like drawing lines in the air, marking safe and dangerous zones with every burst. By June 5, 1944, the Allies had stockpiled millions of rounds of .50 caliber and 20 mm ammunition, much of it loaded with tracers. Ships bristled with anti-aircraft guns, Bofors, Oerlikons, and Browning machine guns, each manned by crews trained to track and destroy enemy planes. The kill zone was not just about firepower, it was about coordination. Gunners had to work together, watching the tracers to avoid friendly fire and to concentrate their aim. How did they manage this under pressure, with seconds to react and lives at stake? The answer lay in discipline and practice. Crews drilled for weeks, learning to read the tracers like signals in the night. A burst too high meant the enemy was out of reach, too low, and the rounds would splash harmlessly into the sea. The tracers acted as a kind of language, telling gunners when to adjust, when to hold, and when to unleash a wall of fire. It was a system built on trust and timing, like a team of musicians playing in perfect rhythm. As the invasion fleet gathered off the coast of Normandy, the tension was palpable. Every ship, from destroyers to landing craft, was part of a vast network, each gunner ready to play their part. The kill zone was set, but would it hold against the fury of the Luftwaffe? The answer would come with the dawn, as the first waves of troops hit the beaches, and the battle for air supremacy began. The complexity of this defense required more than just weapons. It demanded strategy, communication, and innovation. How did the Allies organize such a massive effort, and what role did technology play in shaping the outcome? To understand, we must look deeper into the planning and preparation that made the aerial kill zone possible. The planning for the Normandy invasion stretched back months, involving thousands of officers, engineers, and gunners. Allied commanders knew that air defense would be critical. How could they ensure that every ship and landing craft was protected from above? The answer was a layered system combining radar, spotters, and a web of anti-aircraft guns. Like a spider weaving a web, each strand had to connect perfectly, or the whole defense could unravel. radar stations dotted the southern coast of England, scanning for enemy aircraft. As soon as a threat appeared, spotters relayed its position by radio, triggering alarms across the fleet. Gunners scrambled to their stations, loading belts of ammunition, every fifth round a tracer, glowing red or green. Why use tracers so often? In the chaos of battle, visibility was everything. Tracers let gunners see their own fire, adjust their aim, and avoid wasting precious rounds. It was like using a flashlight in a dark room, revealing the path and the target. The U.S. Navy's doctrine called for concentration of fire. Ships would overlap their fields of fire, creating zones where enemy planes would face a wall of bullets. In some sectors, up to 20 ships could focus on a single target, sending hundreds of rounds per second into the sky. How did they avoid shooting each other? The tracers helped, marking the arcs of fire and warning crews when their aim strayed too close to friendly vessels. It was a delicate balance, like threading a needle in a storm. On D-Day, the kill zone stretched for miles. From the largest battleships to the smallest landing craft, every gunner had a role. The 90mm guns on destroyers could reach targets at 10,000 yards, while the .50 caliber machine guns covered the close-in threats. Each weapon had its own rhythm and range, but the tracers tied them together, creating a visual symphony of defense. How did this system hold up under real attack? As German aircraft approached, the kill zone came alive. Tracers arced through the sky, guiding gunners and warning pilots. Some enemy planes turned back, unwilling to fly into the storm. Others pressed on, only to be caught in a crossfire that left the air thick with smoke and debris. The kill zone was not perfect, some ships were hit, and some planes broke through, but the system worked. Allied losses were far lower than feared, and the invasion succeeded in part because the aerial kill zone held firm. This web of defense was more than just firepower. It was a triumph of planning, technology, and teamwork. But what did it look like from different perspectives? To truly understand the impact, we must explore the angles, human, tactical, technological, and more, that shaped the battle above Normandy. The human angle of the kill zone begins with the gunners themselves. Most were young men, barely out of high school, trained in the basics of marksmanship and teamwork. What did it feel like to stand behind a machine gun, watching the tracers light up the night? For many, it was a mix of fear and focus, like threading a needle while a storm raged around them. Each gunner had a job: scan the sky, track the enemy, and fire when ordered. The tracers gave them confidence, showing exactly where their bullets went. Did they ever wonder if their shots would make a difference, or if the enemy would break through? Gunners worked in shifts, sometimes for hours at a time. Fatigue set in quickly, but adrenaline kept them alert. The roar of engines and the crack of gunfire became a constant backdrop. Every fifth round was a tracer, glowing like a warning sign. Why not use all tracers? Too many could blind the shooter or reveal their position to the enemy. The balance was critical, like seasoning a meal, just enough to taste, but not so much that it overwhelms. The tactical angle was all about coordination. Ships lined up in tight formations, each covering a sector of the sky. How did they avoid friendly fire? The tracers acted as guides, marking safe zones and danger areas. Commanders used radios to direct fire, calling out targets and adjusting aim. It was like a conductor leading an orchestra, each section playing its part in harmony. The kill zone depended on timing and discipline. A single mistake could open a gap, letting enemy planes slip through. Technology played a key role. The .50 caliber Browning machine gun was the backbone of the defense, firing up to 600 rounds per minute. Tracer rounds burned magnesium, creating a bright trail visible for up to 1,500 yards. Why did this matter? In the chaos of battle, seeing the path of each bullet helped gunners adjust quickly. It was like using a laser pointer to guide a cat, simple but effective. The combination of firepower and visibility turned each gunner into a vital part of the kill zone. The enemy's perspective was very different. German pilots faced a wall of light and lead, knowing that every tracer marked a stream of deadly bullets. Did they hesitate before diving into the kill zone? Some did, turning away to find easier targets. Others pressed on, hoping to break through. The tracers acted as both warning and threat, shaping the choices of every pilot. The kill zone was not just a physical barrier, it was a psychological one, testing the courage and skill of both sides. The moral and ethical angle cannot be ignored. Gunners knew that every shot could mean life or death for themselves and for the enemy. Did they struggle with the weight of their actions? Some did, while others focused on survival and duty. The tracers made the battle visible, turning the sky into a canvas of conflict. Like a chess game played in real time, every move had consequences. These angles reveal the complexity of the kill zone, but there is more to explore. How did weather, terrain, and leadership shape the outcome? The next section will dive deeper into these factors, showing how every detail mattered in the fight for air supremacy. Weather and terrain played silent but powerful roles in the aerial kill zone. On D-Day, low clouds and mist hung over the channel, making visibility a constant challenge. How did gunners adapt when the sky turned gray and targets blurred? Tracers became even more important, cutting through the fog like headlights on a dark road. The sea itself was a shifting platform, with ships rocking in the waves. Gunners had to steady their aim, compensating for every roll and pitch. Was it like trying to hit a moving target from a moving car? In many ways, yes. Every shot demanded focus and quick adjustment. Leadership shaped every moment. Officers on the bridge watched the tracers, directing fire and shifting priorities as threats appeared. How did they decide where to concentrate their guns? Reports from radar and spotters guided their choices, but instinct and experience mattered too. It was like playing a game of chess with pieces moving at lightning speed. The best leaders kept their crews calm, even when enemy planes broke through the kill zone. Their decisions could mean the difference between survival and disaster. Communication was the glue that held the system together. Radios crackled with orders, warnings, and updates. How did crews avoid confusion in the heat of battle? Standard procedures helped, but the tracers themselves acted as a visual language. A sudden burst of red meant danger. A steady stream showed a target under fire. Like traffic signals on a busy street, these cues kept everyone in sync. The kill zone was not just about shooting. It was about teamwork, trust, and clear signals. The psychological impact was profound. For Allied gunners, the tracers offered reassurance, showing that their efforts mattered. For German pilots, the glowing lines marked danger and resistance. Did the kill zone change the way both sides fought? Absolutely. Some pilots avoided the most heavily defended sectors, while others tried to slip through gaps. The tracers shaped every decision, turning the sky into a battlefield of light and shadow. Finally, the kill zone was a test of innovation. Engineers tweaked ammunition, gun mounts, and firing patterns to maximize effectiveness. How did these changes affect the outcome? Improved tracers burned brighter and farther, while new gun placements cover more angles. It was like upgrading tools in a workshop. Each improvement made the system stronger. The aerial kill zone was not static. It evolved with every battle, adapting to new threats and challenges. With all these angles in play, the stage was set for the climax, the moment when the kill zone faced its greatest test. How would the system hold up under the full force of enemy attack? The answer lay in the decisive hours that followed, as history unfolded above the beaches of Normandy. The first light of June 6, 1944, brought a surge of tension across the Allied fleet. At 5:30, as the invasion began, German aircraft appeared on radar, Ju-88 bombers and FW-190 fighters, flying low over the water. The clock was ticking. Gunners braced themselves, hands on triggers, eyes scanning for movement. How fast could they react when every second counted? The answer came in a burst of action. As enemy planes closed to within 2,000 yards, the order rang out, "Open fire." Hundreds of guns erupted at once. Tracer rounds streaked through the dawn, red and green lines crisscrossing the sky. It was like watching a storm of fireworks, but every spark was deadly. The .50 caliber Browning machine guns fired at 600 rounds per minute, while 20mm Oerlikon cannons added heavier bursts. Each gunner tracked the tracers, adjusting aim with every flash. Do they feel the pressure, knowing that a missed shot could mean disaster for men below? The kill zone came alive. Ships coordinated their fire, overlapping arcs to create a wall of bullets. Destroyers like USS Corey and USS McCook led the defense, their 5-inch guns booming alongside the rapid chatter of machine guns. The air filled with smoke and the smell of cordite. How did the gunners keep their cool? Training and discipline took over, each man focused on his sector, trusting the tracers to guide his aim. German pilots faced a nightmare. The glowing lines marked the boundaries of the kill zone, warning them of the danger ahead. Some tried to weave through the fire, banking and diving to avoid the streams of bullets. Others pressed straight in, hoping speed would carry them through. The kill zone was like a net, tightening with every burst. At 6 o'clock, a formation of Ju-88s attempted a bombing run on the landing craft. Allied gunners responded with concentrated fire, tracers marking the path and forcing the bombers to break formation. The intensity grew as more enemy planes joined the attack. At 6:30, FW-190 strafed the beaches, but the kill zone held. Allied gunners fired over 50,000 rounds in the first hour, with tracers guiding every shot. The sky was a maze of light and danger, each line a warning and a weapon. Did the system work as planned? The results spoke for themselves. Few German planes made it through, and those that did faced heavy losses. The climax of the kill zone was not just about firepower. It was about coordination, timing, and nerves of steel. Every gunner, every ship, every round played a part in the defense. The tracers turned chaos into order, guiding the hands and eyes of men under fire. As the battle raged, the kill zone proved its worth, holding back the enemy and protecting the invasion force. But the fight was not over. The next wave of attacks would test the system even further, pushing the gunners and their weapons to the limit. How would they respond when the pressure mounted and the stakes grew higher? As the morning advanced, the tempo of battle only increased. By 7 o'clock, the sky above Normandy was a swirling arena of danger. More German aircraft, Heinkel He-111 bombers and Messerschmitt Bf-109 fighters, joined the fray, searching for gaps in the Allied defenses. How could the gunners keep up hour after hour as fatigue set in and ammunition ran low? The answer was discipline, teamwork, and the ever-present guidance of tracers. Ammunition crews worked frantically. Below decks, hauling belts of .50 caliber and drums of 20mm rounds to the guns. Each belt was carefully loaded, for ball rounds, then a tracer, repeating in a steady rhythm. Why this pattern? Too many tracers could give away a ship's position, but too few would leave gunners firing blind. The balance was as delicate as tuning a radio, just enough signal to cut through the static. At 7:15, a group of Bf-109s dove toward the landing craft at Omaha Beach. Allied gunners responded instantly, their tracers forming a curtain of light. The German pilots tried to zigzag through, but the kill zone was relentless. One Bf-109 was hit at 1,200 yards, trailing smoke as it spiraled into the sea. Another burst of tracers forced a He-111 to jettison its bombs early, missing its target by over 300 yards. Did the gunners realize in that moment how much their accuracy mattered? Every tracer was a thread in the fabric of survival. The kill zone's effectiveness was not just in the number of rounds fired, but in the way those rounds were directed. Officers on the bridge watched the tracers, calling out corrections and shifting fire as new threats appeared. It was like steering a ship through a minefield. One wrong move, and disaster could strike. At 7:45, a wave of Ju-88s tried to slip in low, hugging the waves to avoid radar. Gunners adjusted, lowering their aim, and the tracers followed. 2 bombers were hit before they could release their payloads, crashing into the surf. By 8 o'clock, the first phase of the air battle was winding down. The kill zone had held, but at a cost. Some ships bore scars, holes in the deck, shattered gun shields, wounded crew. Yet the system had worked. Out of more than 100 German sorties, fewer than a dozen planes managed to inflict serious damage. The tracers had done their job, guiding the hands and eyes of every gunner, turning chaos into control. As the smoke cleared and the sun climbed higher, the Allied fleet prepared for the next challenge, supporting the troops on the beaches and guarding against new threats from the air. The kill zone had proven its value, but the aftermath would reveal the true cost and the lessons learned from this day of fire and light. When the guns finally fell silent, the scale of the battle became clear. Allied ships had fired over 250,000 rounds of .50 caliber and 20 mm ammunition in just a few hours. Tracer rounds, glowing red and green, had marked the sky and shaped the outcome. What did these numbers mean for the men on the ships and the soldiers on the beaches? For many, it was the difference between life and death. The kill zone had shielded the landing force, blunting the edge of the Luftwaffe's attack. Reports from the front lines told a story of resilience and adaptation. Out of more than 100 German aircraft that attacked the invasion fleet, fewer than 15 managed to break through and inflict significant damage. Allied losses were far lower than planners had feared. Only a handful of ships suffered direct hits, and most casualties were light compared to the scale of the operation. How did the kill zone achieve such results? The answer lay in the combination of technology, training, and teamwork. Tracers allowed gunners to see, adjust, and concentrate their fire, turning each ship into a fortress. The psychological impact was just as important. For the gunners, the sight of tracers arcing through the sky was a sign that they were not alone. Each glowing line was a message. We are here, we are fighting, and we are holding the line. Did this sense of unity help them endure the stress and fatigue? Many veterans later said it did. The kill zone was more than a tactic. It was a bond, forged in the heat of battle. For the German pilots, the aftermath was sobering. The kill zone had turned the approach to the beaches into a gauntlet. Some Luftwaffe crews refused to make a second run, shaken by the intensity of the fire. Others adapted, flying higher or attacking from different angles, but the tracers always marked the danger. Like a fence of lightning, the kill zone forced the enemy to think twice before pressing the attack. The lessons of the day spread quickly through Allied ranks. Commanders studied the results, looking for ways to improve. Could the kill zone be made even stronger? Should more tracers be used, or should new patterns be tried? The answers would shape future battles as the Allies pushed deeper into Europe. Yet, the story was not just about numbers and tactics. It was about the men who stood their ground, hour after hour, trusting in their training and in each other. The kill zone had held, but the cost was real: wounded gunners, damaged ships, and memories that would last a lifetime. How would these experiences shape the next phase of the war, and what new challenges would the Allies face as they move inland? As the invasion progressed, the effects of the kill zone rippled through every level of command. Allied planners reviewed the battle reports, noting that coordinated tracer fire had reduced air losses by nearly 60 compared to earlier amphibious operations. How did this change the way future battles were fought? The answer was clear. Tracers became standard issue, and kill zones were planned for every major landing, from southern France to the Pacific Islands. The technology itself evolved. Engineers improved tracer composition, making rounds burn brighter and longer. New gun mounts allowed for faster tracking and steadier aim, even on rough seas. Was this like upgrading a car for a race? In many ways, yes. Every improvement gave gunners a better chance to hit their targets and protect their comrades. By July 1944, Allied ships carried even more ammunition, with tracers making up nearly 25 of every belt. The lessons of Normandy shaped every shipment and every training session. The psychological impact lingered. Gunners who survived the battle spoke of the tracers as both shield and sword. Did they feel safer, knowing their fire was visible and coordinated? Many did, but some struggled with the memory of the chaos and the constant threat. The kill zone was a comfort, but also a reminder of the danger that never fully disappeared. For German pilots, the memory of the kill zone changed tactics. Some units shifted to night attacks, hoping to avoid the deadly curtain of light. Others flew higher, risking accuracy for safety. Strategically, the success of the kill zone gave Allied commanders new confidence. They could land troops and supplies with less fear of air attack, speeding up the advance across France. The Luftwaffe, already stretched thin, found it harder to mount effective strikes. Was this the turning point for air superiority in the European theater? Many historians believe it was. The kill zone did not win the war alone, but it tipped the balance, making each landing more secure. The aftermath also brought reflection. Reports from the beaches and ships included stories of bravery and loss. Gunners who kept firing despite wounds, officers who coordinated fire under pressure, and crews who worked together to keep the guns supplied. The tracers were more than just tools. They were symbols of hope and determination. Like a beacon in the night, they guided the way forward. As the Allies pushed inland, the lessons of the kill zone traveled with them. New battles brought new challenges, but the principle remained: see the enemy, coordinate the defense, and hold the line. The story of the tracers and the kill zone was not just a chapter in history, it was a blueprint for survival and victory. The story of the first aerial kill zone is more than a tale of bullets and tracers. It is a lesson in adaptation, teamwork, and the power of simple technology. What does it mean when a line of light can change the course of a battle? Like a compass guiding explorers through unknown lands, tracers gave gunners the ability to see, adjust, and protect. The kill zone was not just a barrier, it was a living system shaped by every hand and every decision. Can we imagine the courage it took to stand behind those guns, trusting in training and in the glow of each tracer? The men who fought that day learned that survival depended on more than strength. It required coordination, clear signals, and the willingness to adapt. The kill zone became a symbol of unity, where every ship and every gunner played a part in a larger defense. What did this moment mean for the future of warfare? The lessons of Normandy echoed through every battle that followed, reminding commanders and crews that technology alone is not enough. It is the people, their choices, their discipline, their trust in each other, who turn tools into triumphs. Like a chain holding fast in a storm, the kill zone showed that even the simplest innovations can shape history. The glow of tracers over Normandy faded with the dawn, but their impact endures. In every conflict since, the principles of visibility, coordination, and teamwork have guided defenders and shaped outcomes. The first aerial kill zone was not just a tactic, it was a turning point, lighting the way for generations to come.